Hi friends, while I'm here, I am in Soraya, Morocco, and I just finished Atlas Mountain Race. It's an ultra-cycling event that is 1,300 kilometers, and it goes through the Atlas Mountains and the Anti-Atlas. And I took first for the women and 15th overall, which I'm pretty stoked about. I have a bunch of questions about my race and my experience, and I wanted to answer those questions for you guys here. So I've got a list on my phone, and yeah, let's dive right in. First question, would I do it again? And the answer is, yeah, I definitely would. I had a really good experience. It's really a beautiful country, and the hospitality of the people here are really wonderful. I think that would be what brings me back. I have desires to do other races of Nelson's as well, so maybe I'll do those first and then come back here. Maybe I'll just come back and help out at Atlas next year as well. I don't know. It's such a cool vibe. It's really good, and you have that ultra bubble, but it's super special, and I would definitely consider coming back. How many hours did I sleep? I slept 4 times, and I think totaled up maybe 5.5 hours or 6 hours of sleep. I didn't sleep enough. I think I probably should have slept more. There's a fine line of sleeping enough, being fast, and if you don't sleep enough, you can't ride as fast. If you sleep more, then you take up more time, but then you can ride faster. And I think in this case, with the race being as long as it has been, it took me 4 days at 19 hours and 3 minutes. And yeah, I think I could have slept a little bit more and actually ridden faster. So not enough sleep for me. In the future, I'll definitely do probably like a minimum of 3 hours a night rather than 2. But it's troublesome because when you're at the checkpoints or when you're at the places where there are other people sleeping, they snore, or there are people that are loud. For me, I slept at like 7 p.m. and so I was sleeping in the shopkeeper's house in the town, and like they were making dinner and like doing things with their family, and I was just in the room next door trying to sleep. So yeah, definitely a challenge there in getting enough sleep for this race. What piece of kit or gear would I change? I was pretty spot on with all of the gear that I brought. I think there were a couple things that I would rearrange in my bag setup. I had a long top tube bag, which was really cool from Apidura, the backcountry one, and the front part I had was electronics, and then the back part I had was like things I was going to use, like I don't know, like chapstick and sunscreen, and I had like the ibuprofen, Imodium, and Benadryl in there, and I never needed to use those items, the Benadryl, the pill stuff, and I feel like I could have kept that in a different location on my bike that was easily accessible, but maybe not right there, and because every time I wanted to get something out of that bag, I was always like pulling stuff out and like having to hold things in my mouth while I was riding and do all of the stuff, so it was definitely more of a challenge. In terms of gear that I wouldn't bring, I used every single item that I brought with me that was big, like clothing wise. It was quite warm, so I only wore my down jacket one time when I slept. I brought a sleeping bag and a sleeping pad, and I slept twice on that setup. So I slept inside 3 times and outside twice. And yeah, I don't think there's anything I wouldn't change, or I would change. And maybe something to do with my hand position setup, but I don't know. I got to figure that out. A little bit more tinkering here and there. How many hours of training in a week did I do for Atlas? In the last couple months, I started working with a coach. His name is Dennis from the Orange Seal Academy program, and he has really gotten me into more structure, and I've been riding a lot more than I normally would while working with him. I've been taking cycling much more seriously this year, which has been really fun. It's definitely bringing a joy to me, and having a structured training plan and having a little bit of accountability. In the weeks leading up to it, I was doing blocks between 20 and 30 hours of training, which is a lot, but it's my job. So I have to spend that time. It's like going to work, I've got to clock in. So, the week before, not as much because you have to rest and recover. And actually even not as much because we started the race 24 hours late because there was a rain issue, or there was rain delay basically. There was some serious rain here in the desert. So yeah, that's how my training has been. What animal encounters did I see, and any at night? I didn't actually see that many animals. I think I saw like maybe a couple. I saw a mouse, I saw a little snake, I finally saw a camel, and I saw a bunch of people talk about these goats and trees. I saw some goats and I saw some trees, but it wasn't until the very end that I saw the goats in the trees. And they're so funny just in the trees, I guess. It was a cool experience to see that. I saw 2 donkeys though, and I fed 2 donkeys an apple. One of the questions is, how many donkeys did you feed in the race? I had purchased an apple because it was the first like produce item I had seen. It was the last day of the race and I was riding, and I put the apple in my pocket and was like, well, I'll eat this later. Shortly after I bought it, I stopped to adjust something in one of my bags, and 2 donkeys came up to me, and it was like I was petting them. It was really special, and I was like, they were kind of nibbling on my hand, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna let them have this apple. I pull out the apple, see if they would like it, and immediately one of them just starts gnawing on it and basically eats around the entire apple and then eats the core, and it was really cute. Just like I couldn't believe it. I thought I was hallucinating. Honestly, I was like, is this real life? What is happening here? Did I get a bottle of Prosecco from the Enough Cycling guys? I don't know. There's still this evening. And it wouldn't be Prosecco. It would be Brut, maybe, I think. I forget what the Italian... it is Prosecco. Anyway, I'll ask them for it later. What does recovery look like after a race that's at this distance? Well, first, you need to sleep. Like, you've got to catch up on your sleep. And I haven't done that yet. Usually, I would say within 4 days, I feel pretty normal. Within 2 days, I feel like I could ride my bike again. So I did ride my bike for an hour and a half spin. Just get the blood flowing, get the blood moving. Obviously eating a lot. I give myself 2 weeks because it takes 2 weeks for your body to fully like realize, okay, I'm not as hungry as I was. I don't need to be eating as much. So yeah, 2 weeks of just like basically nonstop eating, which is really fun. Why was my preference a Hardtail XC bike over a gravel bike? So this race, a lot of people were on hardtails. Some people were on dual suspensions, and a couple brave souls were on drop bar gravel bikes. And I prefer a drop bar gravel bike 99% of the time. The position I would have for my hands is much better this way. But just comes to a point where you need a suspension fork, and that suspension fork allows you to take in less fatigue while you're riding, so you can continue to ride longer. The name of the game in ultras is basically just to feel less tired so you can keep riding. So if you can save yourself by wearing sunscreen, keeps your skin from being tired, you don't have to process as much of that fatigue, then you can ride faster or longer. So the main reason for the hardtail was the suspension fork. And if I could have a suspension fork bike with a drop bar, then I think I would probably end up doing that, because I like that hand position better, and I actually feel comfortable descending technical trail, like super technical trail, on a drop bar. Like if I could put my hands in the drops, I actually feel really good about it. I mean, there's nothing like being on a dual suspension flying down a black diamond descent, but that's not what you're seeing here. You're just seeing really chunky roads because there are a lot of rocks here. What did I love or hate? Did I feel safe? I actually felt safe the entire time. Not once did I feel nervous, except the time that I needed to sleep in a town and there were other riders and we chose to sleep in the same area. And I think that was the only time where I was like unsure. I don't have a lot of fear. I don't feel scared very often. I think massive storms are really the major thing that give me fear. And we saw that before the race started, but after we didn't see anything like that. So yeah, and I would say, what did I love? I loved the ability to experience and descend and see these massive climbs and historical landmarks that we found here, and getting to know people. I love to race and be near people, and that's always fun. I also love to ride by myself, and I love the competitive aspect of it. For me, racing is super competitive, and I enjoy that. Yeah. What did I hate? I don't like omelets, and I had to eat a lot of omelets. The resupply situations were not something that I'm accustomed to. It was a lot more packaged dry food, not as much prepared food that you could find, and that was more challenging for me because there's nothing like eating a pizza or a sandwich. Like, your body can really churn on that, but like if all you can eat is ho-hos, like I did, which I ate like 40 ho-hos, they were great because they didn't melt in my pocket and they were really soft and moist. Totally artificial and packaged, but if I ate one ho-ho, I could make it an hour and then I would have to eat another one. But yeah, I would say the food situation was maybe not my favorite. Someone said any pain. I had some knee pain. I actually had to adjust one of my cleats a little bit, and just the power of pushing on the uphill steeps, that like torque that you're doing on your knees, after days and days it can get tiring. But you know, it's nice because I would sleep and then I would start riding again, and I wouldn't feel the pain for the first, you know, chunk of time. So yeah, you just kind of get used to it. But other than that, no major pain. My hands stopped working. Like I was having a hard time like clipping the bags, on my Apidura like saddlebag, like putting the clips together, and like putting my shoes back on, putting my zippers on. I had a hard time with that. It didn't hurt. I just literally couldn't use my hands. Somebody asked, well, so my bike setup was a open Hardtail 1 Plus. So I rode 29-inch wheels with Hunt proven dynamo wheel set, and the front was a 2.25 racing Ralph, and the rear was a 2.1 racing Ray from Schwalbe, and perfect setup. I had no flats, no issues. Literally, it was exactly what I wanted. They were fast, rolled smooth, and just enough, you know, traction on either side, but pretty rolling fast, smooth on that. There was a decent amount of tarmac. Somebody asked, could you go with a 40 millimeter tire and an open up? And my answer is, you could, but do you want to? Probably not. Did I have any mechanicals? Somebody says no mechanicals. Like I did have to, yeah, I adjusted my cleat. I had a dry, clean run. It was good. You know, I was very careful though. I didn't do anything where I was taking risks, because in a race this long, a risk will, you know, it could be a race ender. Favorite part of the trail and local interaction. The local interaction that I had was going to shop, the last place where I got this apple that I mentioned, but also having tea with the local shopkeeper, and that was super special. I had enough lead on the second place woman that I was able to spend a little bit more time enjoying the track and experiencing the landscape, and not have to be so head down focused. So yeah, that was a really wonderful experience. My favorite part of the trail, there was this one downhill, really, really good techie section, and yeah, that was fun. I love anything technical, so anytime there was, I was like, thank you, Nelson, thank you, the race promoter. Somebody mentions the delay of the start, and I guess I should talk about that. Basically, there was a 24-hour delay because the local government didn't want to send the riders out to ride because it had rained. And the rain, although in the town it seemed like it wasn't too bad, like there was definitely standing water, it doesn't rain very often in the desert, and so the water just piles in these riverbeds, and we rode through riverbeds nonstop. And yeah, it was definitely a good idea that we waited 24 hours at least. We were planning on starting, but the local government had other plans, and that was fine. We all started 24 hours later, and for me, whatever, it's not a big deal. Just ate more food before we started. How do I record it on my Wahoo all in one go, and would I be worried that it would be lost? I am definitely worried with any computer that your file could be lost if you record it in one go, and I don't stop recording. I just let the whole thing run. But if your computer dies, I think it will still save the route, and if I was to lose that kind of file, I'd be really disappointed. But again, it's not as important, you know, the race itself is the experience. How much time was I completely alone out there? I spent a lot of time racing alone. I don't know, the race is 1,300 kilometers or 800 miles, and I mean, maybe I spent 150 miles with others, but outside of that, I was by myself a lot. It is self-supported, and technically you're not supposed to ride with others at all. Like, you're not supposed to rely on others. You can be near them, and I was definitely near riders a lot, like back and forth, and we would see each other at sometimes the resupply and end up like sitting near each other because, like, well, we're all weird smelly cyclists, you know, we're not going to sit to opposite sides of the restaurant. But yeah, that was I would say I spend a lot of time alone, and that's fine with me. I do enjoy being in my own company while I'm racing. Other than that, I want to be with other people, but yeah, while racing, I like to be alone. How many liters of water was I averaging per day? Probably like 9 liters, 9 to 12, because I would refill my 3-liter water. I was riding for basically almost 24 hours every day, sometimes longer. And then I would sleeping after that 24-hour mark. So yeah, in that amount of time, I was carrying about 9 to 12 liters. And I would carry it in some sections. I needed to carry 2 1.5 liter bottles on my front fork. And that definitely made the suspension and the handling a little bit different, but I needed the water and I was happy to have it. A couple times somebody does ask me, did I run out of water? And yes, there was a couple times where I didn't. I had just enough water in case an emergency had arisen. I would always save it, but yeah, I was getting close to multiple, like 2 times where I just didn't have enough water, and I the next time carried more. So what's the recovery window for such an effort? I mean, I mentioned earlier, like, I don't know, 4 days or whatever is about the time where I start to feel normal again, back to myself. But I won't start doing any structured training again for at least a week and a half or 2 weeks. And then you have to think about this. It's like a big block of training. And so you've done your big block and then you kind of rest and then you start up again. So I probably won't start training for like 2 weeks or so. Average riding speed. I think my average speed was 10 miles per hour. I don't know what that is in kilometers. How did I fix my front light to my aero bar? My system looked very interesting. Yeah, my system was interesting. Basically, I had aero bars, and then I had a TT pack from Apidura that I put underneath, and then I had a dynamo sine wave beacon light. And the way that I attached it was basically I flipped upside down aero bar Wahoo mount with a GoPro, and I affixed like an extension for a GoPro so that it went out further so I could use the TT pack. Maybe I'll do like a little video on it. I did make a bike packing like bike check video that I'll also share, and I'll do some info on it there. But yeah, it was definitely a weird setup. And then on top of the aero bars, I put a water bottle cage. And the reason why I did that was because I needed a water bottle to put drink mix in. I didn't have space in my frame because I was using a frame bag that was 3 liters of water in it. And I didn't have room for a water bottle cage. So I put it on the aero bars. And then on top of the aero bars, had a mount that I put my InReach, which is the tracker that I use. Or I could put my Garmin on there as well. Not my Garmin, my Wahoo. And I could switch back and forth between, I had 2 mounts. So that was that setup. And then I also had a tail light. I think it was a Supernova tail light for the dynamo rear. Somebody says my next challenge, PRCO 560. I'm also potentially, for us US riders, going to be doing Doom, which is in Arkansas at the end of March, but we'll see. That's pretty soon from now, and I'm not sure I'll be ready to race mentally by that point. But I'll be around in the area, so maybe I will just go and bike pack it. I think, okay, that's it. Yeah. It was a great race. I really enjoyed the route, and I really appreciate Nelson Trees, the race organizer, and all of the volunteers, his family who came to help. It's been a great experience, and if you have any questions that I didn't answer, just leave some comments down below and I'll reply back to them. And yeah, give Atlas Mountain Race a chance. It's definitely a unique experience, and it's one of the more attainable races that Nelson Trees puts on. He also puts on the Silk Road and Hellenic race, and those are a little bit more challenging. So I would definitely give Atlas a try. It's tough for a February race because if you're like me and you live in North America, the winter is cold, but definitely worth giving it a try. Thanks for watching, and you can find the bike packing bike check video for this race here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Adios.